So there are a couple of different methods about how to find listings on Amazon. So we're going to cover one in this video and another in the second video. So for this video, I'm going to cover how to find products on Amazon and then work our way back to the supplier to find the one that has the cheapest price. And we're going to use that to list the product. The other way is to find the product at the supplier and then find it on Amazon to see if we can compete and if we can list it. So we're going to start off by Amazon and work our way back. So we just go to Amazon.com. And then you can pick any department that you want over here that you want to list from, or you can even type in over here what kind of product you're looking for. So I'm just going to start at the department, and if you do search up here, just a note to make sure all is selected. So I'm going to go under Home and Garden, and let's do furniture. Even when you click furniture, you see that there's still a ton of different options that you can choose from. Okay, so the different kinds of rooms. So I'm going to go to living room furniture and let's do ottomans and storage ottomans. Okay, so this is where we are. Now, this is all of the storage ottomans that are listed on Amazon. But what we can do is we can actually sort them depending on some filters over onto the left side over here. So if we scroll down, we see that there's the shape, if you want to sort by that, or the material, which I don't usually touch, or the color. What I do always change is the average customer review. So if I click on this, it will only show me reviews of stars that are 4 or more. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to filter that out. The other thing I'm going to do is the condition. I'm not really going to be listing against used products. So I'm going to just click on New for the condition. Okay, so we can see what we can compete against. And then is there anything else? Depending on what the minimum and maximum will be for the employer that you're employed by, you may want to put a minimum of, some employers want 100 and they want a maximum of 500. So you can even filter by the prices of the items. We're not going to do this for the purposes of this video. So in terms of this, we're ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're just going to start off by picking one and seeing if you can compete. Okay. Some things that we do look for are ones that don't have a lot of people selling them. Because if a lot of people are selling them, that means there's a ton of competition, and at the same time, we may not be able to compete, right? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't check it. Like this one over here has 21 offers, or this one has 16. So those are ones to steer away from. But then again, or this one right here, like 49, right? So it just becomes a race to the bottom, which is not something that we want to do. So I'm just going to start at the top here. Okay, so there are something in one of the videos that you're going to review called private label. So for this one I know is on a sheet that's called Do Not List Brand, because it is a private label item. How you tell that, just to review over here, and I just know from experience, Songnomics, it is sold by Songnomics with that brand name, and it is fulfilled by Amazon. So that just means they send their items into Amazon, and Amazon fulfills them or ships them out for them. So if I just go over here, click on To New, you can tell over here as well that it's fulfilled by Amazon, and this is the same, Songnomics Direct, or Songmix, sorry, Direct, and this, and it's also by that. So this is not something that I would list, and that's because it's a private label item, and so is this. So I'm going to move on to the next one over here. So let's review some stuff. So the first thing we're going to look at is the seller's rank. Okay, so if we come over here, we see that it's 237. The ideal criteria that we would want for seller's rank, and it can vary again by employer, is less than or equal to 200,000. And we want that to be in the main category, not in one of the, subcategories, but the main category, which is home and garden in this situation. So it's 237. So one thing to review is the lower the sales rank, or the smaller the number for the sales rank, the better chance it has to sell. So that's why we want less than or equal to 200,000. Again, that can vary by employer, and this one is right in that range. So that's the first thing we look at. The second thing that we look at after the rank is to see, again, if this product is a restricted brand or if it has an infringement. So there's two ways to do that. The app Scanalyze that we previously discussed about downloading, what you can do is if you click on restricted, it will tell you if that product is restricted by Amazon for you to list. So if you just click on that, and for this you need to be logged into your Amazon Seller Central account. Okay, if you look over here, it lets you list it, which means it's not a restricted brand or it's not a restricted product that Amazon where it won't allow you to list it. Okay, so that's the first thing to check. And now since we've checked that, the second thing we check is to see if we've had any infringement notices or if this is a do not list brand that we received notices for that please don't list our product, or we're going to file a complaint to Amazon. Sorry about that. So this is a list that will be shared to you by your employer. So for this one, it's solder, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down all the way over here under S, and lists may vary as well, and look for solder. So for me, we have it alphabetical, so I'm just going to scroll down to see if solder is here, and if it's not, then I'm okay to list it. So those are the two checks that I do. So looking here, it's not on it, but you see that Sogonomics is on it, that one I was talking to you about earlier. Or Song Mix, sorry. So solder is not on this list. Okay, so those are two things I check. First of all, if it's restricted by Amazon, and secondly, if it's been restricted by the brand itself or the brand owner itself. So after that, I scroll down and I check to see if it's what the reviews are, right? So over here, the reviews are 4.5 out of 5. And it has quite a few reviews. So those are the 3 checks that I've put. So far, so good. And then I come down here and I see who it's sold by. So right now, it has selected for us the black and the large size. So you can see that they have brown and large as well, and small in both colors as well, right? So this product has 2 variations on Amazon, one of color and one of size. And we look at the listing itself to see if it's a well put together listing, right? So we have a title, and it's not a bad title. Then we have information about the product, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to see what the prices are like. If you notice over here, the condition is already selected as new because that's what we did in the filter prior. And then you can see all the sellers that are selling it. So there should be 10 sellers, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all see if we can compete for this listing. Okay, there's no FBA, there's no FBA sellers on this, and that's the main thing that we look for. And if there is, we do not list the product. Okay, so what do? So we go over into we open it up again, another browser, and then I'm just going to type in Google Shopping. Okay, and for this, most of the time you have to have a VPN open. And what that does is when you're not in the States, it makes your computer so it looks like that you are in the States, or it makes its IP address of the States. So then you can find the products if you need to find them. So I'm going to come back over here, and there's a few ways to do this. You can either search by the model number, okay, and how I know that's the model number is because I saw it down here, and you can even see it down here under product information, the model number. You can search it by the title, you can search it by the picture, so there's various ways to search it. So I'm going to start off by the model number. So I'm going to copy the model number, paste it in here, and put in Ottoman. So it kind of knows what it's looking for that model number. Okay, and it comes right there. So now you can see over here, this one is being sold by Hayneedle solely, and this one, it says starting from 2061, and there's 20 plus stores selling it. So there's more options to compete over here. So I'm going to click on this, and then it says compare prices from 20 stores. So I click on that. Okay, then I scroll down and I click on view all 20 stores. And now we're going to sort by the lowest price to the highest price. So if I just click on base price once, it goes from lowest all the way to the highest. Now the suppliers that you're going to use are going to vary again by your employer, but most of us tend to steer away from eBay. So Walmart is one of the big suppliers that we use. Cymax, some people use it as well. So there's a ton of suppliers here, Wayfair Supply. So again, it depends entirely on what approved suppliers you're working with. Okay, so the cheapest one I see is Walmart. So I'm just going to click on shop. Okay, so I end up on this page. So what I'm going to do now, first thing I'm going to make sure if it's in stock. And you can see it is. It says sold and shipped by Walmart and it's in stock. Second of all, I'm going to make sure it's the exact same product by comparing a few things. So what we're looking at right now is the black one in large, right? So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to make sure black is selected and not brown, right? So I'm going to make sure black is selected and it's the large one. Now I'm going to compare all of the information. The first thing I'm going to compare is the model number. So if I just scroll down on the Walmart website, you'll usually find it here, or you can expand this as well. So it's 414666. So I come back down here, 414666. Next I'm going to compare the pictures to make sure it's the exact same item and it looks the same. Okay, so it has that line, it's a rectangle. It has those lines, the embroidered, and it's a rectangle. Okay, now I'm just going to read a little bit of this. So holds books and magazines, Dura plush upholstery, resisting stains and wear and tear, and 3A lightweight for easy handling. Okay, so I'm just going to come back here and see what else it says. So holds books, magazines, so that's similar, contemporary design, Dura plush upholstery. Okay, lightweight collapsible. Now the size, so it's 14, 29, 15. 14, 29, it's 30 almost, and 15. This one's 14.75, which is 14.8. This is 29.75, which can be rounded up to 30, and then 15. Okay, and then there's also additional information over here if you want to look at it. It says contemporary design, which we said, right? So there's always additional information that you can always compare, but I'm pretty confident it's the same product, right? Because I compared the picture, I compared the description, the size, the model number, everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I'm able to compete against it. So then you open up your listing worksheet. Okay. So this is the one from Walmart. I'm going to price it out. So it's $20.61. So again, remember to write only below this line, so $20 under source price and 61 cents, and then shipping fee. So over here it says sold and shipped by Walmart, and over here it says free shipping. But I'm going to make sure. It's always good to make sure. So I'm going to go add to cart. Okay, and you see over here it has shipping over there, which it did not have over here. So don't always go by the free shipping label over here. Always make sure by adding the product to the cart. So if I go to my cart, you can see that I have one item here, shipping is $5.99. Okay, and the other thing to note at the same time is to make sure you don't have other items in your cart. So you only have one item in your cart, because if you have something else and the price goes above a certain amount, and I believe for Walmart it's $50, then there's going to be free shipping. So we want to make sure we have whatever item we're actually trying to list only in the cart. So shipping is $5.99. You don't change anything else. Okay, and then I come back over here to to Amazon. I click on the top 10 sellers and see what we would have to price it at to see if we're competitive. So if you see over here, these are all the sellers, right? And it goes by lowest price to highest price. So the one thing you need to see is we want to be in the top 3 sellers only. And again, that may depend on your employer, but for these purposes, we want to be in the top 3 sellers only. So we want to be able to list in the top 3 sellers, and that is the only way we're going to list this product. Otherwise, we're not going to list the product, we're going to move on. So to be in the top 3, we need to list it at least $33.54. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to type in $33.54, which is the Amazon listing price, and I want to see a positive profit here. So $33.54. Okay. Sales tax, everything it calculates on its own. And it says we make a profit of 11 cents. It's not a huge profit, right? But it could be one of those products that you sell a lot of, even though you may not feel it's worth it, but something with such a low sales rank and you selling multiples of it, it's going to help improve your metrics in your store. So it's okay to have products like this sometimes that are cheaper and sell a lot because of their very good sales ranks to help improve your metrics in your store. So this would be a product that personally I would list. Some people may not because they don't see the profit in it, but my profit would be in it helping to improve my metrics versus the dollar amount profit. You know, both are important. So again, that would be something that would have to be discussed, right? So if I can be the top 3, which listing it at $33.54 I will be, I still get a profit. So one thing to note is I don't want to list it at $16.78 because I'm going to be a negative profit. I don't want to list it at $27.75. I can show you over here because I'm going to be a negative profit again, right? Negative $4 right here. So what's the cheapest I could list it to make sure I'm in the top 3, right? And that's why I just chose this number. So let me do that first. For example, if you're asked to list products that have at least a $5 profit, that doesn't mean that you can come over here and change this to, $38.54 or $39 just to get your $5 profit over here. If you list it at $39, you have to note over here that you're not going to be in the top 3. You're going to be in the top 5 or 6. And that's not what we want. We want to be in the top 3. So just for the sake of listing and for the sake of making a profit of $4 or $5, if that is required by your employer, don't put this at a higher price if we're not able to compete in the top 3. Okay? And if that is a requirement, then you wouldn't list this product. You would move on to the next product to make sure you get a $5 profit or whatever profit that you're required, but by only being in the top 3. Okay, so that's very, very important because a lot of people will, put the Amazon listing price at $39 or $40 because they have to make a $5 profit, and then, they're not able to compete, but they're still listing it because, they do to make that profit. So no. So always make sure you don't do that, and that's not the proper way to do it. So that's that. So I'm just going to fill out the rest of this information over here. So listing person, I'm going to put my name, Ninu. The date I listed it is today, so that would be March the 6th, right? Handling time, so that means how long I have to ship this product. Walmart usually is pretty good with shipping their products at a decent time or in a good time frame within a couple of days. Okay, so let me just click on this again. It may tell me when it might arrive by. Okay, so it says it arrives in 3 to 5 days, right? So what that means is it is delivered in 3 to 5 days. That doesn't mean it ships in 3 to 5 days. Based on this, it arrives in 3 to 5 days and is delivered in 3 to 5 days, whereas handling time is the amount of days we as sellers take to ship the item. So it will be shipped and delivered in plenty of time, right? So we're going to put a handling day of 4, which is usually our default, unless the product is a special order, is a freight, is something that it indicates over here that it's not going to arrive within a decent amount of time. The merchant SKU, so this is something that will be custom based on who you are working for, but for example, certain companies use certain codes and they pick certain information from the supplier's page to know that this is the item they're listing. So for example, for merchant SKU for Walmart, you could put Walmart, like WAT or whatever code you want, dash, and then you can come over here and you can pick a lot of different things, right? You can pick, for example, the model number, right? Copy the model number and paste it beside that. Or you can put, the model number dash rectangle, which is the shape, right? So this dash the shape. You can put the item number from here. You can put the Walmart ID number. So you can put a multiple different things just to make it custom to the company that you're working for, right? And they may change this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually copy this number. Okay, but again, you have an option of copying several different numbers. And I want to make sure that I get the right variation. So it's very important to know that with some suppliers, no matter which variation you click on, okay, the URL up here remains the same. So the 4933 remains there both times. Some suppliers, when you click on certain things, it changes. Walmart is one that it doesn't change, and you'll learn them as you go along. So just by clicking on them, just see if they change or not. And the ones that change, that's okay, you don't have to specify, but the ones that don't change, it's very important to fill out additional information. So you can put variations. So to make sure that they know this is a variation, the other stuff that you could do is you could put 111 here. You can put black, right? Like BL for black. You can put AAA. You can put anything to make sure it's unique. And for you to know, what the product is. It's unique to your store. It's unique to your listing. So I'm just going to use that. For variations, again, this is what I was saying, that you need the additional information when the URLs are unchanged, regardless of what you press. We're listing the black one. So the variation on this particular product is black. So I'm just going to double click on that. I can copy it, or I can just come over here and enter it. The one thing to remember is that it needs to be entered as is. So you can't put all caps, or you can't put BL space ACK, anything like that over here. It needs to be entered exactly as it appears over here, with the same spaces, with the same, capitals. That's what you have to enter over there. And this is what we use to track it in our inventory software, right? We need that information for it to know which one to track. The ASIN, I come over here into Amazon. Okay. I just copy it. So it's right here. It can be on this side or this side, but it's also up here if you need it. So I just copy the ASIN number. And I paste it in here. The URL source. So that's the source or the URL at the supplier. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy it and paste it in here. And then the Amazon URL is the URL on Amazon for the product, the actual product page, not the URL for this. Okay. So the URL for the main product page. The one thing you can do is you can delete everything after the /, including the /. The one thing that we need to keep for sure is the ASIN, and this makes it a clean URL. So if you just enter again, you can see that you still end up on that page. So I copy the URL from the Amazon, right? And then we just see to make sure we've entered all of our information. Once the inventory person verifies and checks it, they will check that. If they don't, then they will probably have this colored in some sort of a color, and with a comment over here saying what's right, what's wrong, why did they delete it, why it's, whatever they need to put, and then you would click on the little floppy to save. I just clicked save up here when it popped up. So that's it. So that's how you list items. So for example, if I was to come back here and let me just go back. Right? If I were to list it from Wayfair, I'd do the exact same thing, right? What I just did in terms of filling stuff out. Now, to find another product, there's several things that you could do. You can go over here, go back, and start looking for the next product, right? So if you just go back here, you can move on. Give me 1 second. So you can just move on to the next one, which is this one, and do the exact same thing we did again. The other thing you can do is you can, pick one of the other variations. So if I just pick on brown, right, I can start it all over again, and now I actually know where it is, right? It's right here. So I can see if I'm eligible according to my criteria to list that. I can do the same thing with this small brown and small black. So there's 4 products right there that you can look up to see if you're competitive and if you're able to list it. So there's 4 products right there. You can even, if you want to do it the Supplier, you can look at the brown one, right? There's 2 products right here for you to look up, Google Shopping, and see if you can compete and if you can list it. So, you can work that way, right? And just work back. So try all 4 of these variations and see if you can find a supplier and be competitive, and then move on to the next one, and so forth. So that's one of the ways that you can list products, is by going to Amazon, looking up a category or a certain type of product, and working backwards to find a supplier with the best price and the cheapest price to be competitive. So you can just keep moving forward, but the one thing to note is make sure it's not a private label or a restricted brand. Also make sure that, there's not a ton of sellers selling it. Like there's like 17 over here, or if there's like 49 something, sellers over here. Let's see how many new sellers there are, because it could be some used, right? So let's click on that. So it only took 1 away, so there's still a ton of sellers, right? There's like pages of sellers. So I probably wouldn't compete in this one because like there's just so much competition. But again, you know what? Check it out. If you think you can compete and if you think you can list it, there's no harm in checking. But this is how you're going to learn. This is how you're going to understand what good products are and what aren't. So that's one of the methods. The other method will be discussed in another video where we're going to start at the Supplier and work our way onto Amazon. But if you have any questions about this, always feel free to reach out, and always make sure you do the checks, which include the seller's rank, if it's less than or equal to 200,000 in the main category, by clicking on this if it's a restricted item to list on Amazon, checking our do not list sheet or an infringement sheet to make sure, we haven't been notified about not listing a product in that particular brand or that particular product in general. Make sure the reviews are good. It's 4 or more. Make sure the descriptions match, and you can compare the model number, title, pictures, everything by Google Shopping and finding the best, cheapest price. And then you're going to price it out to see if you can compete. Okay, so that's just basically the simple criteria of listing products from Amazon onto the Supplier. Again, if there's any questions, always feel free to reach out. Thank you.